Dancing has always been significant in Indigenous communities as a common amusement and a solemn duty. Many dances have historically played a vital role in ceremonies, serving as a form of spiritual expression, healing, and community bonding. These dances often symbolize divine stories, honor tradition, invoke blessings, acting as a bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. Dancing is a way to preserve our Indigenous identity and culture. Ha za sikadave, dos hitati tausini, nanenena, naa sia bihana, ki nona inino. Hello, friends, relatives. Good afternoon. I don't like that part. Hello, friends, relatives. My name is Growing Plume. My English name is Raya Joy. I'm a member of the Northern Arapaho, Eastern Shoshone, and Flathead Nations from the Wind River Indian Reservation in Fort Washakie, Wyoming. And I am the co-founder, director, logistics coordinator, singer, dancer, speaker for Indigenous Corporation 5280. We are a cultural awareness organization that brings Indigenous representation into every community through dance exhibition, origin storytelling, and cultural awareness education. Since 2015, we have had the privilege to carry on this tradition of Indigenous knowledge and awareness out into the Denver metro area, and we hope to expand all over Indian country. We all individually tell our own story through dance. And a lot of it is just, whether it's something that we carry with us, we're able to release, or if it's just a way to find healing. A lot of our dances, the significance has that healing element in there. And they, sometimes we tell stories about like our hunting or courtship, stories of courtship. Dance has always had a significance for our communities as a solemn duty and a common amusement. It's a way for us to come together and celebrate our identities and have pride in who we are and the traditions that brought us to be the people that we are. It's a way to connect with one another. So the ghost dance is a dance that came to us in the 1800s. It ties to the Wounded Knee Massacre. The movement was largely peaceful but feared by U.S. authorities who viewed it as a threat after tension escalated following the arrest and killing of Sitting Bull. Basically what it was a prophet from Wovoka. Really what it started is we felt that the Lakota tribe had felt that they were not honoring their traditions and they felt like they were being punished with the European white expansion. And so they thought if they were to, do these dance style and to live in a better life, that good would come to them and the renewal of the earth. The Religious Crimes Code of 1883 is a reference to the Code of Indian Offenses, a body of legislation enacted by the U.S. Department of the Interior that suppressed Native American practices. It outlawed traditional ceremonies such as the ghost dance and created the courts of Indian offenses to enforce the ban through punishments like imprisonment and withholding of food rations. The code was a tool of cultural assimilation, intended to replace Native American beliefs with mainstream Christian practices. The ban on traditional cultural practices was not formally removed until 1934, and the American Indian Religious Freedom Act of 1978 was later passed to officially protect the rights of Native Americans to believe and practice our traditional ways. Native people, we didn't understand the ownership of land. The land was part of who you are. A lot of times we say like the land it's part of our past, our future, and our present. We only took from the resources of what we needed. We never took more. It impacted our people because of that connection that we had with the land. So a lot of the reconstruction, it's kind of created that space between true Mother Earth and the connection to our people. Introductions are really important for Indigenous people. When you introduce yourself, you are calling your spirit and your energy into the room. And so one of the most important introductions that we make in our family is the drum. The construction is made out of the trees, and the wrapping is made out of rawhide, which is the inner skin of our four-legged relatives, whether it be the elk, the buffalo, deer. And it is constructed by hand. And it says to hold the same power as the womb of a woman, as she is the gateway from the heavens to the earth and brings life here. All of our songs have different meaning behind them, whether it's for ceremony, for gathering, for powwow. There are a lot of different dances within our communities. A lot of them have sacred meaning, ceremony reasons, but for powwow specifically, whether it's from different regions that have these different dances, whether it's southern or northern, we do have for the women, we have 3. We have women's traditional, women's jingle, and women's fancy shawl. And then for the men, we have men's traditional, men's chicken, men's grass, and men's fancy. So the women's traditional dance came to us in the 18th to 19th century. It was also the time of our warrior societies, when our male relatives would go out and for either battle or gathering and providing for the community. A lot of times our tribes were matriarchal, where our women were the ones to ask permission whether or not our male relatives could go out into these battles. Our women would honor our males by joining them in the circle and dancing alongside. It was a way to represent the dignity and grace of our First Nations women. There's both northern and southern styles. The difference between northern and southern women's traditional, it varies depending on the dancer. A lot of our northern traditional styles will dance stationary. A lot of our southern traditional will dance in a forward motion as if they were looking for the trails of a loved one. The difference between traditional and jingle dress is the jingle dress is a dance that evolved within the time. The traditional dance was one of the originals, and with the creation of the jingle dress dance, it was a little bit more upbeat and was a purpose of healing, as where traditional was a way to honor our male relatives. Fancy shawl came about in the 1930s. It was in the 1930s, which also was around the Buffalo Bill Wild West show era. It was a time when our people were having a platform to be able to share about our culture and educate. It came to us first as the men's fancy bustle from the Ponca people in Oklahoma. It was said that the young girls wanted to participate in this dance style, and so they participated in this dance style. It was well into the 1950s did it become its own very dance known as the women's fancy shawl. This dance tells the story of a second chance at life. It's when spring brings life back to the land. There's multiple different ways to tell this story, but one of the stories it tells is of the butterfly, when they go from a chrysalis to a full-grown butterfly. You'll see that the adornment of the shawl represents the wings of a butterfly. It's very elegant and fast-paced. There's two different styles. There's old style and there's contemporary. The old style, you'll notice, will have more of a flowy fringe. They won't wear feathers. They'll still wear their beadwork, and they'll have more, tight, fast-paced footwork. And the contemporary style is a little bit more vibrant colors. It's very fast and upbeat. The shawl is a little bit more expanded. The men's traditional tells multiple different stories based off the dancer, whether it's telling the story of hunting, gathering, war. And as where the women's traditional was just a way for them to be a part of the circle and honor our male relatives, and to thank them for all the sacrifices that they have made. So again, there is northern and southern styles to the men's traditional. You will notice a lot of northern traditional will have feather work. They will have a large bustle. They will at times hold a fan or even hold a shield as representing, their time in war or battle. For the southern men's traditional, you will see we have the southern straight, and they're track finders. So they'll have regalia that kind of represents the trails of tracking. The story about the men's grass dance has multiple different representation from different tribes, one being the Lakota, Nakota, Dakota, and the other being the Omaha tribe. The name comes to the men's grass dance because they would wear sweetgrass and tie it onto the regalia and dance with it as a praying dance. They are the first to come out and prepare the lands for a gathering or for a drum ceremony, powwow. The men's fancy bustle came to us during the Buffalo Bill Wild West show era, and it comes to us from the Ponca people in Oklahoma. The men's fancy dance evolved because with the Buffalo Bill Wild West show, they wanted it to be more energetic, more catching to the eye, as where a lot of our traditional dances were more meant for storytelling. The fancy dance has two bustles, one on the back of the shoulder and then one on the hip. They wear angora on their legs, and they wear bells, and they have ribbon hanging from their bustles. Every dancer has different patterns within the regalia. Sometimes it can be passed down generational. But specifically with traditional, you will see fringe. You may even see, for the northern traditional, you may see a beaded buckskin with long fringe. And for a Southern traditional, you may see a beaded crown and smaller fringe. The minced chicken comes to us from the Blackfeet people, and it tells the story of the courtship of a prairie chicken. It's very flamboyant. And it represents when they're trying to find their significant other for mating season. How does dancing help us heal is a really important question. I think a lot of us, we acknowledge, displacement of our children, genocide, generational trauma, direct trauma. And I think that it's used in a way to help us to remember who we are as people and our strength and our resilience. We don't always have to talk about the hardships. There's times where we talk about the hard moments in order for us to build a better, promising future for all generations. I think there's a lot of things generational that we all carried with us and passed down to the next generation. So if we're able to break those cycles, I do believe that there is an opportunity of evolution for Indigenous dances. I think as Indigenous people, we are always evolving. We are always persevering. And I think that as the stories continue, the storytelling will, and that there will be more dances that will come about. The U.S. government, in some ways, were unfortunately successful in a lot of ways of causing division within our communities. And I think right now we're in a time where we're starting to realize we're not the enemies. And if we come together about something that we're passionate about, that we can create a better future for all generations, not just my kids, not just your kids, all of our kids. And we've made partnerships with all sorts of different communities that are so open-minded and open-hearted about the possibilities that I do think, I always say we are just as modern as you. We're doctors, we're educators, we're filmmakers. And I believe that over time we'll find that cultures will band together and these dance styles will come about in celebration of that. Social gatherings that you can attend that does have these style of dances would be powwows. We have them all over Indian country. You could travel state to state throughout the summer, even sometimes during the colder times, all through Canada, all through the US. We have powwow gatherings all throughout the year. You may attend round dances. We even have cultural programming in the area that you could come and learn how to dance, learn how to sing. What I love about being at a powwow is being able to close your eyes and hear the bells and jingles all throughout, echoing off the wall, the drums, hearing that heartbeat of the nation off the drums, hearing the laughs of the aunties, and hearing, the kids just being kids. The smell of the food, the smell of the medicine, sweetgrass, sage. Sometimes if you're at outdoors powwow, being able to smell the fire in the air. I think the best way to welcome people who are curious about our culture is just to educate them and to remind them that, no matter where you come from, no matter your background, we are all equal. And that it's okay to ask questions. It's okay if you don't fully know or understand something. Many of the emotions derived from our dances is based off the purpose in which you are being called upon. Whether you are asked for healing, if you're asked for celebration of identity and culture, or if you're asked to dance for somebody who can't. Intertribals is an opportunity for anyone and everyone to become a part of the circle. Whether you have regalia or if you're in street clothes, you're able to participate in an intertribal. You may represent all sorts of different tribal nations. We are all able to dance to the same drum.